Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Star Rail, and in today's video it's a quick one to guide you through and give you some advice on maximizing your disk drives early game, and particularly with the Bardic Needle music shop, right, in the game, and what you should do for these tunings, which sets are worth crafting, which ones are worth farming for with battery instead, and what you do with these tuning calibrators that let you actually pick, because I just got 2 of these myself and we're good to go. So, one of the first things to look at, you unlock beginner tuning, I think at level 20, intermediate at 30, and advanced, I believe, at 40. One thing to note about this is that the resources that you use for this do not carry over. So don't feel bad, don't worry about beginner tuning. This only goes up to A rank drives as well, whereas intermediate and advanced start giving you S rank. We're going to want to be moving over to S ranks very, very quickly. Like, just to give you a quick glance, like, the game's been out for a week. I have not, actually slightly over a week, but like, I have not been like spending any polychrome on refreshes. This is just the natural sort of energy, and then some bonus energy from the battle passes nonetheless. But you can see my Ellen, my main damage, she's got 5 S ranks, right? You're gonna want to transition into S ranks very quickly. So don't feel bad about this beginner tuning. Just use it as more of a way to just fill out your sets, get your characters some gear. You don't even need to upgrade it. Just get them some gear early game, get them some sets, and start going to town. So for instance, what's a good one? Like, yeah, Swing Jazz, excellent support set. 2 pieces, 20% energy regen, 4 pieces when doing a chain attack or ultimate. Now this is on a support character, so nearly always it's going to be chain attack, very rarely ultimate. But whenever you do a chain attack, all squad members' damage is increased by 15% for 12 seconds. That's a really good perk to have for your team. You're going to want this on most of your supports are going to want this. This is so strong. So yeah, this is a great one to fill out. Again, your supports, they're not going to be on field that often. They don't need crazy stats. So just getting the basic sets in there can work really well. Another one that's really good for this basic beginner tuning is Shockstar Disco. More impact and more days from basic attacks, dash attacks, dodge counters. That's great to just make your stun characters stun more often. So looking for general stuff. Again, we're not too worried about this beginner tuning because they're only A rank at best. They're just sort of filling in the slots. You can upgrade them. Whenever you dismantle a piece, it will give you back 80% of what you spent on it. So you're not losing out too much if you upgrade them. But there's also not too much need to upgrade them either. You can mostly just wait for the S ranks. Now, when we come to intermediate tuning, you can, number one, pick the slot. Now, if you pick a particular slot, it will only make pieces for that slot, but it doubles the cost. This, in my opinion, is not worth it early game, right? Because, I mean, you're going to need every slot. You're not going to have anything early game, so that's a bit pointless. I think this becomes better later in the game when we're a bit further in and you're looking for specific things. So let's say with Shockstar Disco, right, because the main stats for 1, 2, and 3 are fixed. They're always the same. It's going to be pretty easy to get decent S ranks for those slots. Not too bad. However, for Shockstar Disco, which is for my stun characters, I really want slot 6 to give impact. It's exactly what I want. So it's going to be kind of rough. You know, every single one of these has the potential to be good. It just depends on the substats. For this one, well, there's, 6 different options. So there's only a 1 in 6 that it's going to give me what I want. Now, I might get away with, like, say, oh, energy regen. It's not too bad. I can use that. Or anomaly mastery. Okay, but, you know, I might not really want the other ones too much. Or they're compromises. So I think that's where this becomes good. Slot 5 is particularly notorious with all the particular damage bonuses. So that would be sort of my thoughts on that. You don't want to be crafting specific slots in intermediate quite yet, but going further into the game, I think you will, trying to fish for good main stats for these other pieces. But for right now, just craft away. What sets are worth crafting? Well, this is a decision. And my advice on this, for routine cleanup, well, what the current thinking is that you actually unlock new ranks of... In fact, let me jump over and go... you unlock new ranks of this, but sort of staggered with new ranks of other things. So for example, I need to get to level 45 to unlock this. I unlocked level 40 at level 35. It's a bit weird, but that's how it works. Level 60 is going to be then level 50. But so I'm level 40 right now. I don't actually want to be farming this old one. I kind of want to wait to level 45. So right now I've hit level 40. I'm now able to upgrade the ranks of my agents. I'm able to upgrade the ranks of their W engines, the ranks of my bang boos, etc. There's a lot of upgrading. I can upgrade their skills more, their passives, all of that. I'm going to focus on just getting those basic upgrades done first. And then when I get to level 45, that's when this becomes valuable. And that's a similar thing as well, that people are saying that when you're level 35, that's when this becomes worth doing. So between 35 and 40, this is fairly worthwhile. Then you hit 40, you can start to rank everybody up. You're going to go back to just ranking up them. So yeah, that's sort of part one as to when it's just generally good to farm these things. Actually, I think it's easier if I show you from here. If we jump over here. But which of these are worth farming though, and which ones are more worth crafting? So here's an interesting one. Let me jump to a great example. Tower and Cannon. This gives Woodpecker Electro. This is a fantastic set early game. 8% crit rate. Almost all of your damage dealers, all your crit damage dealers, love that. The 4-piece, landing a crit hit with a basic attack, dodge counter, or EX special, gives you 9% attack for 6 seconds, and the buffs for different skills are calculated separately. Brilliant. Fantastic. This is a very general set. Very general. It's good on basically any crit damage dealer. It's going to be pretty good. Will it be their best set? Probably, maybe not, but it might be. I think for Ellen, actually, it is considered to be her best set. Very comparable to the Ice set, right? Very, and I think actually slightly better. So Woodpecker Electro, that's a great general set. Now, the problem with Tower and Cannon, it's in there with Soul Rock, which is giving you defense, and you take less damage when you're hit. This is clearly designed more for defense characters. Well, right now on the launch of the game, there's only Ben. There's only one, and Ben isn't considered to be that crazy good either. So if you are going in and spending your battery on Tower and Cannon, kind of like half the pieces you're getting are probably not going to be particularly useful to you. They're not going to be great. And that's kind of a problem. So this makes this a fairly bad one to do for battery. It does make Woodpecker Electro actually quite a solid set to craft, though, with your in Bardic Needle to start off, to get a good generic set that no matter what new characters come into the game, no matter who you pull, like if I farm the fire set and I pull a really good, if I then get Ellen, let's say, well, the fire set's not going to be any good on Ellen, whereas Woodpecker Electro is going to be good on any crit damage dealer. So this is a really good set to do in tuning, I think, in the early game. Great set to tune. No harm in that. We'll come back to the specific calibration and advanced tuning, though, in a second. Let's just cover these first. Which ones are worth farming? Monster and Weirdo is excellent. This gives you the Ether damage set, and it also gives you Swing Jazz, which is your best support set. So this is a very, very good one to farm. Now, if you're getting Zhu Yuan, who's the upcoming limited character, this is amazing, right? Pretty much your best supporting set, plus your Ether damage set. You're going to be building an Ether damage team. Great, you're good. If you're not going for Zhu Yuan, she's the only Ether damage dealer in the game in patch 1.0, so you're probably not building an Ether team. So this one is a bit questionable. If you're not going for Zhu Yuan, I think Swing Jazz becomes quite a nice set to craft, particularly with your intermediate one. I don't think you really necessarily need, because this is more for support characters. I would be focusing on my damage characters for advanced tuning, but I think beginner and intermediate tuning, Swing Jazz is excellent. This becomes a very good one to farm if you are ever building an Ether team, though, at which point you probably won't even need to craft Swing Jazz because you're going to farm this. It's a very good one to farm. Fist and Gun, it's your physical damage set, and this one is sort of giving you attack. Hormone Punk is actually quite nice on some supports as well, like Sukaku, for instance. She transfers her attack to the rest of your team, so the more attack she has, the more she buffs your team. So it's not bad. Not a high priority set, though, I would say. So this is one that you're going to farm if you are using physical characters, but maybe not otherwise. Hunter and Hound, this is a very big one. You've got the electric set, but you also have Shockstar Disco, the stun set. This is the best set for all the stun characters in the game, and arguably the defense characters as well. So this is a very high priority one to farm. Now, if you are not building an electric damage team, it's not going to be that good. But considering there's Grace, Anton was on the starter banner, even Anby is in there as well, I think this is a pretty good one to farm. So these sets are really, really strong, but you might not need to go too crazy about crafting them in the shop, right? Because this is a pretty good one to farm. Tower and Cannon, we talked about that. We've got two more, Madman and Follower, fire damage, and that's coming in alongside Puffer Electro. This one's a bit more niche. It's a good generic damage dealer set as well. So that's, it's just maybe not best in slot for everyone, or it's a sort of more bursty play style based around the ultimate, but it's going to be good. And as we go up against tougher enemies, that pen ratio stat becomes more valuable as they get more defense. So Madman and Followers is good to farm, especially if you've got a fire team. And then finally, Sharp Fang Blunt Axe is the ice set. And then Freedom Blues, which is the anomaly set. So this one is an interesting one. I think, for instance, Ellen is the only real proper ice damage dealer right now. I think she's as good with Woodpecker Electro as Polar Metal, so it's not super essential. It's good, but not, it's not overly needed, I would say, but it's nice. It is nice. And then Freedom Blues, this is really for anomaly characters. I think this will become much better as well in the future. When we've got more anomaly characters and you're building a disorder team where you want to stack up the anomaly, explode it with a different anomaly character, reapply it, explode it, where the enemies, every time you apply an anomaly, they get a resistance to that anomaly that builds up. So it will sort of help deal with that. So that's going to become better in the future. So this is one that might be very, very good to farm, but also might not be too high priority. So that's sort of up to you. For example, Grace right now, who's sort of your S-rank standard anomaly character, she actually prefers 4-piece Thunder Metal and then 2-piece of Freedom Blues. So, you've got some stuff going on there. So that's sort of my thoughts on the routine cleanup. It really depends very much on what sort of teams that you are building. Let's jump back over to Bardic Needle and let's break down what you should do with your advanced tuning. In fact, I shouldn't have jumped away, but there's a shop we've got to look at first. We need to go right back. Oh my god. Hang on. Where are we going? Scott Outpost. We are going over here. Yes, this one. So you can get a tuning calibrator once per month. I don't know how easy it's gonna be to farm that up, but I've gotten the first one. I think you get one for free at hitting level 40 as well. In the association supplies, you can spend your investigation merits, which you get from the weekly bosses, Notorious Hunt, and then from Shiyu Defense. So we've got the 10 stages of Shiyu Defense, which are once off, and then there's going to be like sort of monthly rotating ones after that as well. And I think as more endgame modes come as well, you're going to probably get more of these, but they don't exist right now. So this is quite a limited resource. I advise saving up for the Tuning Calibrator, and then if you've got loads of them, any of the other stuff could potentially be good. I mean, the Boupons are probably nice. Don't buy the unlimited Denny's, buy the ones that are limited. I guess you'd have to buy everything, but I'm definitely prioritizing. This is 2,000. It's expensive. I'm prioritizing the Tuning Calibrator for sure. Like I said, you get one, I believe, for free when you hit level 40. I had 2 of them. I think that's how I got it. How do you spend this? So this is for advanced tuning. Advanced tuning always gives you an S rank, so it's very, very good. Very, very good. My advice for this is you would obviously never use this on 1, 2, or 3 because they always have the same main stat. This lets you choose the main stat. I think this is particularly good, and this is how I have spent mine. My first 2 is on the main damage dealer for each of my teams, getting them a damage bonus that matches the set. So I, for instance, crafted an ice damage bonus on Polar Metal for Ellen. I think it's fairly straightforward. It's going to be pretty tough to get one of these to drop for the set, right? You have to, number one, there's a 1 in 6 chance. It could be slot 5, and then there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different options. 1 in 9 chance from that 1 in 5 that actually gives you the main stat. You could go a very long time trying to get the main stat that matches. So I think that crafting this first gives you like an easy slot in. Ice damage on the ice damage set. Fantastic. That's great. Perfect for my ice damage dealers. Perfect for really anyone that's doing ice damage. It's going to be flexible for a long... It's probably going to last me for a very long time. It could be quite a while before I get a better one. So that's what I did. So I did that for Ellen.
Time for some tailcare.
Ellen, I've got her ice damage. This one's not bad, actually. Some anomaly proficiency is actually pretty decent. A couple of attack percent and +1 crit damage. It's pretty great. It's just missing crit rate, really. If it had crit rate instead of that HP, we'd be laughing, but that's pretty good. So I'm very happy with that. It worked out well. Now, Anton, I did the same thing because he's my other main damage dealer. I also have Grace, so this can easily transfer onto Grace either, right? 2 different electric damage dealers. I got Thunder Metal, the electric set, with the electric damage bonus. This one is nowhere near as good. We got some HP percent, 2 rolls in flat attack. We do have a bit of crit rate, so this one's nowhere near as good. It's not fully rolled up either. But yeah, I think this just is giving you a safe piece for the early game. One option is to go for like a crit rate or a crit damage main piece. I think crit rate main piece is better, by the way, for Ellen if you do not have her signature engine. If you do, her signature engine gives her so much crit that probably crit damage is much better. But I've gone for crit rate. I didn't get to see, watch my video from yesterday to see about that, but I'm not getting her W engine, sadly. I think the game pushes you to make a crit rate Woodpecker Electro at the start, and like, again, that's fine. It's going to be a generally good piece, but I think it's going to be a little bit easier to get a slot 4 because it's a bit more general, and really you can put in any S rank crit rate piece should go in here. It's so important. That's the biggest boost to your damage. That should go in, and then you fill up the sets after. But like I said, I think there's multiple sets that crit rate is good for, whereas ice damage, you really want that on polar metal, don't you? So and again, electric damage, you really want that on thunder metal. That's just perfect. It really synergizes with the build, so that's why I think it's good. A couple of other options you might consider. I think slot 6 is also a good one, and will be good moving forward. So let's say, I mean, obviously one, Shockstar Disco. This might be worth doing to try get impact. I probably wouldn't do that because, yeah, that's probably not too important, but it's something you can consider. Again, sync up things like Anomaly Proficiency set. You could try to get Anomaly Mastery on that. That's pretty good. You could go for Swing Jazz, your support set, and you could slap on Energy Regen. I think those are fine as well. Personally, for me, I would highly recommend going for your damage dealers first, and then building it up after would be sort of my general advice. I guess one thing that you might run into, if you do... I'd say like Ellen, for instance, because she quite likes Woodpecker Electro. Like I said, I've actually got fairly darn good pieces here, but I only have the 4-star attack percent, so it might be a little bit tough to get an S rank attack percent in this set because I'm now sort of locked in with the polar metal, so that's a little bit awkward in terms of going for this ice set. But, you know, this is sort of one of those things. It's a bit up for debate, and like I would say, like these two pieces are actually really nice at this point in the game where our damage is low. We're fighting enemies that are stronger than we are. You actually will find when you hit level 40, you get beaten up. Like, try doing some of the endgame stuff, pushing Shiyu defense, and like characters will actually die. So yeah, getting this stuff ranked up can make a very, very big difference to your survivability. But yeah, you got a bit more flexibility. It's a lot easier to get good pieces for slots 1, 2, and 3 than it is for these. But yeah, look, there we go. There are my thoughts. Let me know, what have you done? That's what I've done. Now that I've got those locked in, what would I do with the next one? Ooh, that's a bit of a tough question. I might save these up for a little while and then see how I'm doing. Now I've got my 2 main damage dealers with that locked in. I'm feeling pretty good. I might save up my next couple and just see how stuff starts to drop, where I'm at, where I get stuck, what I feel like I'm needing after that. But yeah, slot 6 and slot 5 are good options. Slot 4, not too bad either, like crit rate or crit damage. See, both of those are good for crit damage. Anomaly proficiencies may be a bit more niche. Anyway, I'm babbling on. You get the gist. Let me know what you did. Thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.